All right, here we go. Very first thing. Okay, to be a function. So this is a little bit different than before. So let's go back over functions. And guys, I'm sorry about this paper. I waited and waited and waited for the copy machine to get fixed, and it's still doing this craziness on the paper. So I am very sorry. I promise that these graphs will be clear. I don't care if I have to print them out at home by myself. They will be clear on your test, okay? Some of these are not very clear, but I will draw in some things for you. Okay, first thing. What is this a function? Yes. Vertical line test, member. It only has to hit once. What about this? Nope, because it would hit twice, right? So to be a function, if you don't have a graph, what had to happen if you don't have a graph? No repeating x values, right? So this is a little different. To be a periodic function here, you want the y's to repeat on this one. So it has y values that repeat. It has y values that repeat. Okay, so let's look at that middle section right here, where it says example 2. It says determine if it's a periodic function or not a periodic function, okay? So look at your y value right here. That looks like it's about at 1, 2, 3, 4-ish, right? That looks like about 4-ish. So you've got to look at your max and your min. So you got to look at the crest of that curve, right there where it peaks at that curve. Look at this one. That y value looks like it's about 3-ish, right? This y value looks like it's about 2-ish. Y'all okay so far? Do they have repeating y values? Are they all the same? No. So this is not periodic. All okay? Might help if you were off your phone and with us. All right, what about this one? This y value looks like it's about 2. This y value looks like it's also 2, right? Okay, now check your minimums as well. Look at the bottom. This one looks like, okay, well, if this is -2, this has got to be -4. Y'all okay with that so far? Look at the other one. The other one is the same spot, right? So they're on the same spot, so this would be periodic. Ooh, I can't spell. Does that make sense to everybody so far? It has to be periodic in order to do what we're about to do. So you have to be able to tell if it's periodic or not periodic. All right, what about this one? What do you say? Periodic, because these two y values, your two maximum y values are both 2, and your two minimum values look like they're -1. So this is periodic. Anybody lost? You just look at the maximums. They're both at the same spot of 2.
Well, we don't have to.
No, I'm just putting them down because it's kind of hard to see on these. But it will be very clear on the test for you. All right, so let's look at the next one. Next one we need to learn is a cycle. So just like a bicycle, right, has the word cycle in there, they do what? They go round and round and round and round, constantly doing the same thing. They're always going to go around in the same motion. They're always going to have a pattern. So a cycle is one complete pattern. So this is where you need your highlighter. All right, it doesn't matter where you start from. It just wants one complete cycle, okay? So you either have to start at one of your maximums or start at one of your minimums. So what do y'all want to do? Maximum, okay. So you can start at this one and go down to the other one, or you can start here. It doesn't matter, okay? I'm going to start right here just because it gives me a full picture, okay? All right, now you're going to go to the exact same value on the other one, okay? So do you see this exact same value right here? So you're going to stop right there, okay? So here we go. Let's draw that picture all the way out. It goes down and back up, and it looks like a U shape. That is one complete cycle. All right, if we did it again, don't do it again, but if we did it again, that would be 2 complete cycles. Does that make sense to everybody? So this is the 1 cycle. This would be 2 cycles. This would be 3 cycles. Does that make sense? Y'all okay? All right, here we go. So then we're going to do the same thing here. Doesn't matter where you start, as long as it's a maximum or a minimum. So which one you want to do? Want to do a maximum? Okay, you have 3 different maximums to choose from. I just like to start over here just so I make sure I don't get lost, okay? Now find the matching y value on the other one. So only do one of them. So go to the next one, okay? You can't skip that one because then how many cycles would that be? That wouldn't be 1 cycle. That'd be 2 cycles, right? So then just connect those, follow the lines all the way down. So it's a V. So how many cycles are shown on this graph? Just 2, right? Because this is 1, this is 2, and this would be a half of 1, okay? All right, let's do the next one. It'd be the same thing. It would just be an upside down one, but it would still be 1 cycle.
What about for,
What? I can't hear you, baby. Speak up. Hmm?
If you started on the left.
Yeah, there would be 3 cycles, but here you can see this little arrow means that it keeps going. So you could keep going on here. All right, now look, this one's a little different. You ready? Do you see how this one, do you want to do your maximums again? Okay, it doesn't matter. You can do your minimums. So do you see how it plateaus right here? It doesn't come to a point like this one does. You have to pick one of those points. It doesn't matter which one you pick. So do you want to do the one on the left or the one on the right? Left? Okay, well, you can do the one on the right. It really doesn't matter, guys. Here's the only thing that matters. When you come to your next plateau, you just have to pick that same dot, okay? So if you pick the one on the right, then you have to pick the other one on the right. Does that make sense to everybody? All right, and then you just connect it. Okay, so if you want to draw it out to make sure you're right, down here, oh, crap, don't look at that. That would be 1 cycle, right? How would I do another one? I would do it again. Go over, down, over, up. If I wanted to do it again, I'd go over, down, over, up. I can't draw today. Are y'all okay? Does that make sense to everybody? And it's just a cycle. It keeps going and going and going. All right, so let's do the next one. The next one is like you are in 4th period, right? And you have a certain amount of time. Just like when you go to 5th period, you have a certain amount of time. Does it make sense to everybody? It's the same thing here. A period is the certain amount of time that it takes for it to complete a cycle. So let's write that down in our math terms. It's the horizontal length of 1 cycle. Horizontal means which way to which way? Left to right. Very good. Left to right. Okay. So let's find those same values that we started with. This is where we started on this one. Follow this down to the x-axis because the x goes left and right. What's that x value right here? -3. Find where we stopped. We stopped right here. What's that x value right there? How much? 1. So what's the length between -3 and 1? How many is that? 4. So your period would be 4. Is anybody lost? Yep. So it's the same thing. We started at this y value, right? I followed that down to find its x value is -3. And I ended right here. Followed that down. The x value is 1. The distance between -3 and 1 is 4. Okay? If you need to, you can write it out on the number line if you need to. -3, -2, -1, 0, 1. That's 1, 2, 3, 4 places, if that helps. All right, what about this one? Find where you started. So if you started in a different place, that's okay. Let me draw the tick marks in for you so you can see this is -4. This is -3. -2, -1, and +1. Okay, so kind of draw those tick marks in so you can see. All right, right here. So this is where we started. That first point that we started at, draw it back down. What's that x value? -3. And find where we ended. We ended right here. Draw that back down. That's on the y-axis, which means my x value is 0. What's the distance between negative 3 and 0? 3. So in other words, it took it 3 spaces to complete a whole cycle, okay? All right, so we'll look at this one. So if I draw this one down, this is negative 2 right here. Okay, so if I draw this one down, that looks like it's on what? Negative 3. So let's put in a negative 3 right there. And let's see, put a tick mark right here. That's negative. That's positive 2. And it'll be very clear on the test, I promise. Okay, guys? It'll be very clear. All right, so draw that back down. So you're going from negative 3 to 2. How far is that? 5.
So it's the line, not the dot.
You find a dot so you can draw it back down to the x-axis.
But on that one, it's kind of safe. But if you want to check out the dot,
No, negative 2 is right here in the middle. Yeah. Y'all okay? Okay, so where are my music people? Where are my music people at? Y'all with me? Okay, right here, amplitude. If you shorten that up, what's that word right here? Amp. You ever played a guitar? Or if you hooked up to something, your instrument to something and you hook it up to an amp, right? So some of you may not hook up to an amp, but certain kind of guitars, especially guitars, hook up to an amp. But you know what an amp does. What's an amp do? It amplifies your sound, right? It increases your sound. So that's what your amplitude is of these graphs. So your amplitude of a sine and cosine graph, which is what we're dealing with right now, equals half the distance from your max and min value. And I'll show you what that means. It's half the distance. Okay, so let's look at these on the bottom. Alright, so it looks like this is positive 1, and again, it'll be very clear. And then it looks like down here, it tells you that's negative 2, right? Okay, so your amplitude, or your amp, is 1/2 your maximum value. What's your maximum values? 1. We haven't finished yet. It's 1/2 your maximum value. Bless you. Subtract your minimum value. What's your minimum values? Negative 2. What do 2 negatives make? So this is 1/2 of 1 plus 2, which is 1/2 of 3, which is how much? 1.5. So in other words, the middle distance between these is going to be 1.5 to the top and then 1.5 to the bottom. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay. All right, here we go. Let's look at this one. Same thing. Let's find the amplitude. Now, don't freak out because it's got a whole bunch of values, okay? What's your max value? What's the highest point on there? Looks like it's about 3. Let's just call it 3. That highest point was 3. That lowest point is easy to find. How much is that lowest point? 0. And, well, that's going to be the same thing we started with, isn't it? 3 minus 0 is 3. Half it is 1.5. Are y'all okay? Alright. No, we're not always. Always. It is half the distance. Yeah. Alright, last one. Here we go. So it's half the distance from your maximum, which looks like it's counting by 2. So this looks like it is at 2. If you need to write a little 2 right here on your graph, you can. So as 2, subtract your minimum value. What's your minimum value down here? Negative 4. So it's 1/2 of 2 plus 4, which is 1/2, 6, which gives you 3. Y'all okay? All right, if you like music and stuff, and you have you ever noticed when you play in a certain room that's not meant to be played music in? Like, for example, this room is not meant for music to be played in it, correct? It's going to sound different if you were playing in your band room, which has things that are on the wall, the acoustics, right? What are those little strips called? Oh, I can't remember what those things are called. Anyway, you know what I'm talking about? The styrofoam boards and stuff that are like gray. Most of the time they're like gray in color that they put on the side of the wall that help the acoustics in the room. I can't remember what they're called. Anyway, but that helps with your sound, which helps with the amplitude, right? Y'all okay? Does this make sense to y'all? All right, let's flip to the next page. Look over in the back. These graphs should be a lot clearer, except for number 5. So you can mark out number 5 because we can't see number 5. We are only doing 1 through 6 right now. So you can mark out 5 because I'm not going to make you look through all that. That's craziness. All right, let's do, which one you want to do together? You want to do number 1 together? Okay. It's the same thing we just did, but we can do it again. All right, which point do you want to pick? The top one? Okay, which one on the top? Left or right? Left? Okay, it doesn't matter which little doodad you want to start with. I don't know what you want to call that. Plateau you want to start with. As long as you start on the same and end on the same, okay? So you can either go back to the next pattern and pick the left dot. Bless you. Or you can go up to the next one. Doesn't matter. Okay, so here we go. Let's connect them together. All right, we're not going to do 2 different ways. We're just going to find the cycle, okay? We found one cycle, and we're going to determine the period. So you ready, Kaylin? So let's follow this back down. If I follow this back down, straight down, what's that x value? 2, because they're counting by 2s. So this is 2, 4, 6, and then 8, okay? All right, so find your next dot that you found. Follow that back down. That's in the middle. That's 7. Very good. Everybody's numbers may be a little different, but the distance between them, your period between them, will be the exact same. So what's the period between 2 and 7? 5. So everybody, no matter where you started, should have gotten a period of 5. From 2 to 7. Are y'all okay? You want to do one more together? Yeah? Which one you want to do? 6? Okay, we'll do 6. Same thing. Start with either your maximum or your minimum. It doesn't matter. Which one you want to do? Max? Okay. Pick one of your 2 dots. You want to do the left one or the right one? The right one? That's perfectly okay. As long as when you go to the other side, you pick the same exact dot. All right. Let's identify our one cycle. So we're going to connect all that stuff. That's our one cycle. That little W and then a V part with it. Okay, so here we go. Let's draw this back down. What is this x value for this one? 0. What is the x value for this one? And what's the period between 0 and 8? 8. We started on this dot right here. That's on the y-axis.
Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah. I mean, if you started with the... Did you start with the right one?
Oh, yes.
Okay, so you just got the same thing. Okay, try 2, 3, and 4. 2, 3, and 4. You can mark out 5 because I'm not going to make you read through all that craziness. 2, 3, and 4. Try those. And then don't put it up yet. Let's make sure we all get the right answers. From this dot right here was, if I follow that down, that's on 0. And this dot right here, if I follow that down, that's on 8. 0 to 8 is 8. You start with the same dots?
Yeah, that's what I was confused. I didn't put.
Oh, here. That's negative 2. The negative 2 is hold on, I'm looking at it upside down. Those are hard to look at. Oh, that negative 2's on the line. Yeah, that would be negative 3. You're right. 1. Yep. Negative 2. Yeah, perfect. Yeah, because my other box didn't fit this long. So that box right here, that's what you have to do. It's a little more complicated, but it's pretty simple. But you have to know how to do this stuff to be able to do the other thing. That's why I don't know this. So the negative is on the line. So here we're getting one. Keep it out, make sure they're right. Alright, what did you get for number 2? Period should have been 4. Make sure you identified one cycle. And the period should have been 4. Very good job. Alright, what about number 3? Identify one cycle. And what'd you get? 2 to 6 is 4. Very good. Alright, what about number 4? This one probably would have been easier to start at these minimums down there. And what is that? Negative 3 to 5 is 8. Very good. Very good. Yellow. Number 2 is right there. Oh, go over it. Okay, which cycle did you pick? Did you pick this one? Okay, so they're counting by 2's. So this is 2, 4, 6, 8, right? Alright, so this line would be 2. So right in the middle of it would be 1. And this one would be 2, 4. So right in the middle of it would be 5. 1 to 5 is 4.